Good evening and welcome along to Snooker Extra, where tonight we bring you extended highlights of the second session between four-times winner John Higgins and 2015 champion Stuart Bingham.
I've had a pretty good season. I've won a couple of titles. Coming here as maybe probably one of the players in form. You've got the sort of two or three favourites, and I'm maybe probably just sitting behind them. But it's nice to finish off at least a round two here at Sheffield. It's special every year.
Listen, he's been one of the players of the year so far, and I think he's not really mentioned because of how well maybe the likes of Ronnie and Robertson and Trump have played. But he's been great this year. That'll be such a tough game.
It's sort of an honour to play him here. He's obviously lifted the title 4 times. He's been last 2 years runner-up. It's going to be a tough game. He obviously played pretty good against Mark Davis in the first round. So yeah, if I can play like I did, I fancy giving him a good game. His all-round game is just superb, and when he's on it, obviously first half of the season he sort of lost his mojo, but he looks like he's got it back, unfortunately.
I've came here a lot of times, maybe not feeling great about my game, and I've managed to do okay, but it can catch you out. If you're not playing great, it can catch you out, but hopefully I can put some practice in and then play well.
A 1-3-2 total clearance from the Scot in the final frame of yesterday's first session levelled the scores at 4 apiece. So what a match we have in prospect here. Calling the action are two more former champions, Shaun Murphy and Dennis Taylor.
Thank you, ladies and gents. The 9th frame. John Higgins to break.
I'm going to cover it. Maybe not. Good cue ball, but not what he wanted. Did well, John Higgins, to come from 4-1 down, win the last 3 frames. Just going to get the 1 point from this, unless he decides to take the black into the left middle pocket. Of course, Stuart, the winner here back in 2015. Can't remember who he beat in the final, but he's not too far away from me.
Thanks, Dennis, and he played unbelievably well during that tournament, Stuart Bingham. And he's having a fantastic season this year as well. He's really in great form as we come into the biggest tournament of the season. Pulled away yesterday to 4-1. Was pegged back by John Higgins. I think we're in for a great session of snooker now.
Yeah, it was a typical John Higgins in the final frame. Made a break of 132 to draw level.
John just coming to see whether the 2 reds that stuck together above the black are a plant onto this corner pocket. It may well be, that's why he's playing the other red. That's a good shot from John Higgins, especially if those 2 reds above the black, as I say, are a plant or pointing towards this right-hand corner pocket. Well, they're not a plant, but they're definitely pointing over that way. So you wouldn't want to cannon a red onto those 2 reds, because the red could only go towards the pocket. So, as I say, that's why John Higgins chose to play the more difficult safety there. He's given Stuart a bit of a problem early in this frame. That's very well played. Had to get that right, had to hit the correct side of that red. Otherwise he could have been leaving an opportunity for John. Well played.
Just a bit too pacey. And John's brother Jason will be watching here. He was down for the last round. I didn't realise it was Jason that had fallen and badly damaged his kneecap, and John went back home. But he tells me that Jason's feeling okay. Great character as John's brother, and hope you're feeling much better, Jason. Now this safety shot might just bring the black back into play. Two very good tacticians, although John, you'd have to say, one of the best safety players the game's ever seen. Acknowledged by Stewart there, he just tapped the table. Excellent safety again from the Wizard of Wishaw. And there you can see it, 82%. What's he left here? If this red passes the pink, it's a decent chance. If it doesn't, it's not straightforward. It must be pretty tight. He's having a long, hard look at it. Feels there's just enough room. So the first chance in this opening frame of this session falls to John Higgins, all created with the excellent safety shot he played and forced Stewart into that error.
Seven. 8.
And once he gets the black on the spot here, Dennis, he's got a really good chance here in this first frame. All those reds are sort of covering each other though, so they'll have to play a few little cannons along the way. Good, close, tight control of the cue ball needed. But we are looking at one of the best break builders we've ever seen in the game. He's currently up to 754 career century breaks. So he certainly knows his way around the table. Just looking for an area here he can play into where he'll have choice of reds. And slide down by the left-hand side of the pink, he'll have one of 2 or 3 reds. Chose to come on and off the cushion. Same difference. 1 of 3.
21. Two. $28.
We're looking at a player here that got to be world #1 and world champion within 6 seasons. That's quite an achievement. Stuart having to sit and see how many his mistake is going to cost him. Yeah, to do it in 6 seasons and become world champion and world #1. It's quite amazing. But a lot of it down to the fact that he used to practice with Stephen Hendry up in Stirling. They used to play for hour after hour, 5 days a week. Yeah, and when he first turned professional, I used to go up to Stirling every now and again and practice there, and practiced with John when he first came on the scene, and I thought, well, he's a bit special. And he certainly is. As with yourself.
36.
Sean, I remember going to Peterborough when you first turned professional. I had a couple of days practice with you, and I thought, yeah, I think he could do all right in the game.
I remember that. I remember buying your lunch. Good shot from John Higgins. Could have left the cue ball high on above the black there for the same red, but this now gives him the chance to make the cannon to the red left of the black if he chooses. Retain good position. He can stroke it in off the cushion for the pink if he chooses as well.
Oh, didn't want the cannon.
43.
Unintentional cannon has spoiled things somewhat. He thought he would slip past this red and be perfect on the pink for the right corner. He's got a more difficult pink now to the middle pocket. The first little hiccup in this effort. pretty good recovery though. But having said that, if he's dead straight on this red, he's not going to be able to get onto the black. I don't know if he can force it if there's a slight angle. Very little. He left the screw back and used the other red there. And that was about the best he could do there. You have to just drop this in to leave a red for the opposite corner. No, he's overcut it. Just shows you when you run slightly out of position, it snowballs. 49 in front. The black and a few more reds would have secured this first frame. And the only safe ball on the table is the green, which may just come to John's rescue because the reds are perfectly placed here. But just when he cannoned another red when potting a red, he should have been nicely on the pink and didn't anticipate the cannon. He's okay, he's well away from that green with his waistcoat.
Nine.
And this will be an early body blow because John won the last 3 frames and looked like he was going to carry on from where he left off.
Very nicely played from Stuart Bingham there, finding the gap between the red and the black. It's always difficult when you use the rest in a not a traditional position. That green was just impeding him slightly there, and he probably never used the rest from there. He would never normally need to. So to find the gap was a good shot. As you say, Dennis, this is a great chance to strike an early blow in this session.
$21. $22.
I think if he was right behind the green in a few shots' time and it was just a case of potting the green to the right centre pocket, I don't think there's a problem, but it's so close to that cushion it made getting to the green, getting to the brown I should say, that much more difficult.
29.
So depends how Stuart feels. He might try and get right behind it in 3 or 4 shots, drop it in the middle, or he might try and move it.
Well, we'll find out shortly what his plan is. He's already looking
36.
at the green now and planning his route to it. He's had a look to see what the angle's like. If he did, as Sean mentioned there, just drop in behind it, but it looks quite tight to me.
$37.
So reverse side, get to the yellow, so it's all about how he gets on the yellow. Might be able to stun it in off the cushion behind the black and then the side cushion and out onto it. I don't think he put that cue ball exactly where he was after. He hasn't got the best of angles. There's a slight angle. He might be able to actually screw this in and get over behind the green. Well, he's now looking at the double, so that tells us that the green's very difficult into the middle pocket. Doesn't have to play to leave the double. But it's what he has done.
45.
Now, one of the best at this type of shot is sitting in his seat. John Higgins is amazing at this type of shot. Can Stuart Bingham pull it off? That was much better than trying to get in behind the green. Quick glance at the scoreboard. Needs the brown, blue and pink. For a steal, a frame that John looked in complete control of. But this is what
57.
Former world champions do. Give them a sniff and they'll take the lot.
63.
That's a magnificent break of 70. And he's back in the lead at 5 frames to 4.
Bit of a problem here for Stuart Bingham. John's put him in a bit of a trouble spot. Tough to find a dead zone down here at the black end of the table, where he's not going to leave John an opportunity to pot a red, so just taking his time with this one, rightly so. The last thing you want to do is take a frame like the previous one and hand it straight back. And in the end, he felt he had to try and pot his way out of trouble. I think he's okay. I think he thought, well, you know, the safety's as tough as the pot, so I'm going to go for the pot. If I get it, I'm on the black. At first glance, I don't think he's left anything. So that was well thought out.
Might just be a gap to take this red up into the right corner pocket. There you see it. And there you don't. Terrific cueing to pull that shot out. That's a beauty. And one good positional shot and he could be back in around the black spot area and the high scoring end of the table. would be the red to middle. Nice angle on the blue, and then back up for the
5.
red to the left of the black spot would be the best one.
6.
If you could get on that, because it's blocking the path of the black for one of the pockets. So let's see how he finishes on this one. That's absolutely perfect.
11.
And I wonder whether when playing this he'll play the cannon on the red directly above the black. That'll open up 2 or 3 other reds. It's always good when you can play shots like that, when you know it can't go wrong. He could have really hit that red in any way he fancied, and he was always going to be on at least 2 reds.
20.
Just about okay. He wanted to slip past that
27.
red. He's just put it out of commission, just nudging it there. You can see it won't go now.
28.
So there's still a couple of reds available, but he may go straight into the pink here. And this, there's no plants on, so this would really open things up. Beautifully played. I just love watching John Higgins, how he goes about break building. All about keeping his focus now and making sure doesn't throw a little careless one in like he did in the previous frame. Just an unintentional cannon. Cost him.
41.
And a good response, Dennis, isn't it? Bearing in mind how he lost the first frame. He'd have been really looking to come out and make a good start. Got in, made a break of 50 of his own, missed, and had to watch as Stewart dished up. So this is a good response.
Yeah, it was like the final last year with him and Mark Williams. It was one of the best finals I've ever seen at the Crucible.
49.
One mistake and either player were winning a frame. It was a very high quality final.
$50.
So he's just having a look at these little cluster of reds. They're all blocking each other. Mathematically, he could take the black and the 2 open reds with blacks and he wouldn't need to move anything. But he felt as if that couldn't go wrong. And it hasn't. He's on the red. He just nicked it on the way through. I don't think he meant to hit that red first. But it's worked out okay. $58.
$65 ahead. He'll make sure of the frame and then
65.
concentrate on a possible century.
$66.
Just the blue will do. He made 58 centuries last season. Not quite having the season this year, just 24.
71. $72. $79.
Oh, what a shame. No century break, but he won't be too concerned about that.
And the French.
We're all square again. 5 frames each. You could see John Higgins' eyes glancing from the cue ball to the object ball before the break off there, and then just at the last split second, then look at the object ball. No value in trying to pot the red into the left corner because black not available, so looking for a good length with the safety shot here. He's got a good length, but he's pushed a red towards the corner pocket. But looking at this, a natural angle, if he plays it with any pace, will take the white into the bunch of reds. How will he play this? If he was to try and just hold for the black, that would be so delicate. And he's trying to do that. What a shot that is, by the way. To judge that. Superb. Full length of the table. Just to roll it in. Get on the black perfectly. 10 out of 10 there.
$8. $9. $16. $17.
This is where John Higgins is sometimes a little bit different to the more modern day player. The more modern day player would splash into the pink here. He doesn't always choose to do that, but he is. Great shot. Does that red go through the gap?
22.
It does. And there's a plant there as well. That's worked out very well. Screwing back on and off the cushion for the blue or pink. Funny enough, there was a kick between the two reds there. At least one of those reds jumped. It's taken the pace out of the cue ball. It's just made this a little bit more difficult.
I remember watching these two players play in the final of the China Championship. I was in Poland with Ken Doherty playing a couple of exhibitions, and it was on the television, and it was 7 frames all.
30.
And John Higgins won 10-7, and he made 3 centuries in the last 3 frames. It was quite amazing.
37.
Just coming round to see if the black passes the red into this bottom left-hand pocket. That means if it did, he'll roll through for the black. If not, he'll just play for the pink, I'm sure. But he'd love to get that red out of the way if it is blocking. Well, that's tight. That is tight. That's the type of shot that, you know, you might go for if you're right behind the black. Just having another look. So it must be dicey. Yeah, you'd have to be perfectly on the black to want to play that shot. But he has played for it.
38.
And if he can pot it and clear that red underneath it, this is another great chance to take this frame.
Straight on the reds, okay here. And he's not quite straight, but on these tables, I think he can screw back past the black. Yeah, just used the left side of the pocket there. I'll tell you what, he looks in terrific form this afternoon.
$53. 54.
He made a 50 break in the last frame, but Stewart cleared up with a magnificent 70, well, 2 frames ago. John won the last with a 79, but both players queuing extremely well. It looks like whoever's going to get in first is going to win the frame. Already 60 ahead, hasn't taken them long.
60.
Under 6 minutes for this break.
61.
Pink and one more red would be enough.
$67. 68. $73.
He tried to develop the red that's nearest the middle pocket there. Well, I missed blue, but once again, it doesn't matter, I think. Well, Stewart 74. Coming to the table, but barring snookers, John Higgins has got himself into the lead at 6 frames to 5.
One.
So Stewart came to the table 74 points behind with 59 remaining. You need four-point snookers to win this frame, but if you can keep one of the reds on, you've always got a great chance. That blue's in a great position for snookers. And obviously with the colours being on the spots, especially the black, that's a very traditional position to be trying to get snookers from. So all's not lost in this frame just yet. Credit to him for carrying on and trying to win it. There's a lot of players who would have just stayed in their seat there and accepted it, but there's still a chance whilst there's reds on.
16. Stuart Bingham, 16.
Just didn't want the little flick on the blue on the way past. I think without that, that cue ball would have been very close to being behind the black. That was fractions away from being a real good telling shot, that. As it is, he's left John this chance of the red to the green pocket. Yeah, and I think that's put paid to this frame now. Too far behind for Stuart to carry on, I'm sure. And what a session we've had so far. We've already had breaks of 50, 70, 79 and 74.
5.
We've only played 3 frames.
John Higgins, 5.
And there is the concession. And with that earlier break of 74, John Higgins takes the lead in this match. Now 6 frames to 5.
Frame 12, Stuart Bingham to break.
So Stuart Bingham kicks us off in frame 12. He'd love to win this frame, get into the interval. The way they started the match, all square, 6 frames apiece. Hasn't played badly this morning at all. He's had a 70 break of his own. Been frozen out in the other frames. John Higgins has played very, very well. It's building up to a cracker, this match. Good shot, Stuart Bingham. That was risky. Wasn't as easy as it looked. That was quite thin. Knew he was opening all the reds. Great shot.
Yeah, I think John Higgins will be a little bit surprised in his seat because he took the red on in a way that he thought, if I pot it, I'll be on the black and I won't leave anything. He didn't anticipate Stuart cutting that one back in and opening the bunch.
9.
Well, this is brilliant stuff from both players here this afternoon. It really is. There's one mistake.
16.
You lose the frame. That's the way they're playing at present. John didn't do much wrong. He just had to go with a red into the right corner. Thought that he would leave everything safe. As we can show you here, he'd been up nicely on the black, but the whites come off the cushion. He was nicely on the black, but that was some shot to start off with from Stewart.
$24.
No problem
25.
for Stuart Bingham bridging over a ball. I think it's 5 or 6 snooker balls he can pick up in one hand. It's amazing. He's got long fingers.
32.
And the way the balls are going into the pocket, you can hear the nice crisp sound as it hits the back of the leather. Might be one in the middle of those reds that goes. The one to the left is no problem. The one near the blue is no problem. But there's one in the middle that might be on. And that's the one he's played for. Now, what sort of an angle has he got here?
Just having the cue ball cleaned, I think that indicates he's going to play this with topspin. Just trying to eradicate any possible slight hint of a kick or a bad contact. This is going to open up everything, this shot. Just depends if he wants to play through for the black or try and screw out for pink or blue. It's not straightforward, this. Well played.
41.
There you can see 6 reds, 6 blacks. I mean, these reds are perfectly placed. If he's
49.
got a maximum in his sights, the frame's the most important thing, first of all. And we'll tell you with the next shot. Yep, he's got an easy pink, but for position, but he wants all blacks, as you can see. £50,000 bonus for a maximum break, with 10,000 for the high break. The man
56.
sitting next to me had a great chance, but didn't get on the last red. Had a very difficult red to get to the black. And he's definitely got all blacks on his mind because he has a red to the right middle. But he's taking this one so that he can stay on the black.
It's a really exciting feeling out there, Dennis, when you're in this situation. 147s, they don't come along often. They certainly don't come along here that often. When it's you out there, it's exciting. Nicely played. Just always looking for good angles on the black. You never really want to be straight, because then you can only forwards or backwards in a straight line. So nicely held there, half ball on the black. Could put this cue ball anywhere he chooses.
I mean, where the red is up the other end of the table, I mean, if he does get that far,
64.
what a shot it would be to get from there to the black. But he's still on this red for the middle, and he can still get back onto the black. He's done it on 5 occasions, has
65.
Stuart Bingham.
Forget the maximum for a minute, Dennis. What a response this has been. John Higgins is hitting with everything so far in this session. To stand up and make this from where he was left before, it wasn't an easy red he was left.
72.
When he started this break, he was risking and losing everything. He went for it and got it, and now he's reaping the rewards.
Well, you just sensed, and I did say at the time, one mistake and it's going to cost you the frame, and that's exactly what has happened here.
Well,
Well, it is going to get very interesting now that the frame is safe. There's only one thing on his mind, but how would he get from that last red, if he does get that far, back to the black?
$80. $81.
If he did get to that last difficult red, I've put a white up. That's where he'd have to be to have any chance
88.
to pot that and get to the black. But he's still got 3 more reds and 3 more blacks to pot before he has to
89.
worry about that. But what an effort this is.
I'm just wondering whether he's going to take the next red that's next to the pink and then try and move that red up in on the bulk cushion, whilst the red next to blue there is there as a reserve. And let's put paid to that. He's played to that red by the blue now. And a great shot he's played. Perfectly on this red 96. To get back for the black.
He's already got his sights on that difficult last red.
$97.
If he can make one from this position, it'll be one of the best, that's for sure. Always hit it too far. A little bit of adrenaline there. He needs a good shot now to hold for the black. Just hit that a little too hard. It's there.
105.
Now, I did put a white ball up some time ago. If he could get there, there would be a
Settle
chance
down,
to pop
please.
that and get back to the black. Finds time to have a little joke with the crowd. Come on, Stuart, you can do it. Go on, Stuart. That's pretty good.
112.
Well, he wasn't far away from the white. He can still cut this in. Come on, you can do it, Stuart. Find the gap back up to the black as well.
Well, it's a natural, Dennis. If he pots the red, he'll be on the black.
Get in there. Oh, look at the cue ball where it was coming. It was right on the black. What an effort from Stuart Bingham. The snooker here this afternoon from these two has been sensational. And we go off to the mid-session interval, all square at 6 frames each. Yeah, a little bit of tipping and tapping, as you say. Were you a tipper or a tapper, Sean?
I'm a smasher, Dennis.
Not sure if John can get off the edge of this red with plenty of right hand side to take the white up into the normal safety area. Looks like he can't. Would have to be very thin. He had another look at it and can't play it. Just wondering if this red goes past the black to the middle pocket. The answer is no. It really is turning into quite an awkward frame now. Gradually the reds are getting away from this area. We definitely won't have a stalemate, that's for sure.
Just put such a premium on good safety play though, hasn't it, Dennis? Because you'd think the next player who pots a red has got the great chance to take this frame. None of the reds are safe. All of the colours are in good scoring opportunities apart from the green. So there's a premium on these safety shots.
There's a possible shot on here. If he stuns this one that he's closest to and screws the white back to the cushion, he could cannon the other one. But he'd have to cover the one that's near the middle pocket. That's what I think he might be trying. I like that shot a lot. The red's close to the middle pocket. He didn't try that. Now he's forced into taking the black on. He played a good shot there, got those two reds away and fluked the one in the middle pocket. He's just debating whether to take the black on. He can play a safety shot off the yellow. Or off another ball to get to where he had his cue there. So it is the yellow ball to leave things safe. I bet you would have been tempted, Sean, to take the black on there.
Well, I was just going to say, Dennis, I know lots of players that would have gone for the black there without even looking, would have just felt forced into going for it. Wouldn't have even looked for a safety shot there. But that's the difference, isn't it? John Higgins, one of our greatest ever players, a tactical mastermind, just too savvy for that.
Yep, knew if he risked the black and missed it, it would have cost him the frame. Or near enough. The way the red is situated, he would certainly have scored quite a few, this man here, the way he's playing.
Good shot that from Stuart Bingham. Looks so innocent, that shot, but he's hidden that red behind the brown. Otherwise John could have used it to get Stuart in trouble next time around. This time if John wants to use that red, he's got to come cushion first. And obviously that's quite difficult to judge, so a very well played shot, Stuart Bingham.
I mean, that is such a good shot, because if he doesn't get the white over there, the red to the right of the blue would cut in the middle. He had to catch that red half ball when he came off the cushion. Otherwise, he would have left that red on.
This is a real head scratcher, this one. He's in a lot of trouble here. Just because of the quality of John Higgins' tactical play. Played a good shot himself, Stuart, a few minutes ago, but he's back in trouble here. Very hard to see where he can leave this cue ball and not leave the red over the middle pocket. Already a minute and a half thinking time. He may well in a second feel he's got to try and pot his way out of trouble. That red next to the blue will cut into the middle pocket, but it's super skinny.
No, he was in a bit of a hole there and couldn't see a way out of it. But that terrific shot from John Higgins has created a chance here. He's got a choice of reds, but this one into the left corner, he's going to need the extension on his cue and the rest, but he's got very little to do to get on the black. Just has to roll it in more or less, and he's out on the black.
One.
tick into half an hour's play in this 13th frame. John Higgins now with the balls at his mercy. There's been some very, very strong tactical play in this frame so far. And he's forced this opportunity, forced the mistake. If he takes these open reds, he'll be going one frame ahead.
Nine. $15. $16.
Already 30 in front, so doesn't have to worry about. Well, there's only one difficult red, so he'll be well past the winning post in this frame before he gets there. Really was a very clever shot that put Stewart in trouble. This was the one here. He played that in such a way that he got the white over near the cushion. If he had stayed near the brown, he'd have left an easy pot on. That was a superb shot from John Higgins that created this chance.
$23.
Play for the red that's up to the right of the blue here. It's the easy one, and it's the one that will take him over the winning line in this frame, you'd have to say. .44 in front now with just 43 remaining and in perfect position.
$35. $36. $41.
Doesn't matter about missing the blue. Played it with lots of side.
John Higgins, 42.
And John Higgins is back in the lead at 7 frames to 6.
Stuart Bingham to break.
Stuart Bingham leading us off in frame 14. Been a very high standard so far today. The 5 frames we've seen, we've had a bit of everything. We've had the excitement of the 147 attempt. Other high breaks as well. I think we've had 2 or 3 70+ breaks and a 50, and that incredibly good tactical frame just then. Such a frustrating shot for any professional, you know, where you're actually aiming those a little bit thicker than you would normally. You're desperate to keep the white underneath the black so you don't leave a red underneath the pack. But he just caught it a whisker thin. He was lucky there not to leave anything. That's a good shot from Stuart. Here we see the last thing you want is for this red to hit the side cushion first. That gets more pace into the cue ball. He just got away with one there.
Look where this is finishing. Not quite. Hit that far too thin. Well, that was a bit of a wide from Stewart there. It's knocked the blue. Awkward. This red will cut. He'll have to come around for the, well, you would say green or brown. His plan here would be to cut this red in, finish nicely on the colour to get back into the pink and reds. Oh, not quite. And he's left the red, and I think Stewart can get onto the black here.
One.
Can Stewart get the cannon and hold the cue ball down at this end of the table? Oh, very well played. Nipped into that. Loads of backspin. Great shot. That was much better than it looked. So easy to let the cue ball slip off. But he bit into the cue ball there. Struck that very well.
8. Nine. Sixteen.
Only the one red to play for here, so he might play twice across for it, or he might play into the reds. Into the pack. How's his luck? It's not bad. He's got the red to the right centre. The pink's waiting for him.
20.
You see, he played with lots of bottom and right-hand side to widen the angle. Couldn't have hit those much better, in all honesty. Just coming round to see if he can get to that red for the corner pocket. He'd prefer to play that one, as that leads to the black. It's very tight. If he doesn't want to play it, he's got the red to the middle pocket.
$21.
His problem here is the red that's blocking the path for the black to this bottom left-hand corner. If you can get that out of the way, he probably will next time around. Put this red follow through for the black, and then he can get that red out. Then he's away here.
28.
The final session of this match will be
35.
played tomorrow evening. Some of them are over 2 days. This one's over 3 days, which I never used to like. I'd always prefer the 2-day matches where you play 2 sessions in 1 day. Going to have to start thinking about developing a few more of the reds. Might do it now. Why not? It's not perfect though. Not perfect unless the one to the middle is on.
43.
Because the angle on the one up past the pink is not the best. That same red for the right middle pocket, not the best, but yeah, this is the one. If he can get to this, he's okay. Well, I say he's okay.
44.
Now, put a little bit of pressure on the next shot. Just fully commit the long pink, and you're in the driving seat. If this goes in, you would say it's a frame winner. Well played. And the high standard continues. Last frame. Took over 33 minutes. The balls went very awkward early on. Not the case here. Just can't separate these two players at the moment.
58.
Played that with lots of left-hand side, check side in that case to keep for the black. Another day he might have played up for a baulk colour. He's played that perfectly. A perfect half ball on this black now. He can either try and play the cannon to the pink and be on 1 of 5, or he can try and find the gap for a loose one. Played the cannon to the pink perfectly. Absolutely judged to perfection. And so impressive today, Stuart Bingham. Every time Higgins has asked him a question, he's had the answer. If Stuart Bingham continues in this vein, John Higgins, it won't be long before he starts to wonder what he's got to do to shake him off. This morning he's hitting with 50, 79, 74. Great tactical frame previously. And a 42 already. And he can't shake him off.
74.
Stuart just checking the scoreboard there, looking what the highest break is, trying to remember what's available. If he takes all blacks with these reds, 75. He can tie the highest break. And we see the 75, pot this black for 82, plus the remaining 59 will give us 141, and he'll tie the highest break.
$82.
He's already up to 60 centuries now this season. If this works out nicely, could have another one. Nicely played.
83.
We've had 57 centuries so far, chasing that record 86 centuries. That was made in 2016 and 2017.
90. 91.
It's just been a fabulous session of snooker, this.
98. 99.
Absolutely terrific. He may have snookered himself on that last red, but he's got the century break, his third in this year's Betfred World Championship. Well, he had a slight chance to beat the high break until he snookered himself behind the pink. But more importantly, that magnificent century break draws him level again, 7 each. Does this red pass the black? It does. And it's there.
One.
So Stuart Bingham fought long and hard and didn't get the cue ball where he wanted, but that was still an excellent opener there from the Wizard of Wishaw. And can you get your breath? Took his eye off the pot.
John Higgins 1.
He's missed precious little in this session, but what a miss that was. Just cued across it slightly. No, that wasn't Stuart's fault. That was a kick. It straightened the red up. I mean, oh, dear me. It makes you look stupid at times when that happens. You know, a lot of people think, oh, how did he miss that? It was the heavy contact that straightened the red up, and that hurts because John made the bad error and Stuart was about to pounce. And his first attempt at a pot, he gets a huge kick. But of course, when the balls are like this, Sean, it's just not straightforward. You don't get down and take the shot because you're very rarely in this position.
Yeah, even with all the hours of practice that we put in, you know, you very rarely just throw the reds around the table and see what you can make of it. So they're in very untraditional positions, unrecognisable template of balls there. We're not really used to seeing them in this sort of scenario. And it takes some working out. There's only one ball on its own spot at the moment, that's the green. So, yeah, it looks like an easy chance this, but this will take some control of the cue ball.
1.
Yeah, if he could get the pink back on its spot, which he will do here, and then get the black back on its spot, It'll get a little bit of normality back to the frame.
Seven.
I suppose the only problem, you get the black back on its spot also, you got all the reds up the other end of the table and nothing up near the high scoring end of the table. This time he does play for the black, but it's still not going to be straightforward.
It does have to be said, I mean, we've said it before, but how unlucky was Stuart Bingham with the kick? You can see how messy the table is, how much chalk dust there is on the table. That's the chalk that John's using. It's leaving a lot of residue. There's every chance of a kick when that happens. The chalk that Stuart's using doesn't leave debris on the table like that. That's what it's designed to do. And you can see it there. And all that does is the cue ball travels round and collects a static charge out of the cloth. It picks up the chalk dust and it creates extra friction between the balls when they collide. And if you get a bit of extra friction, that's a kick. So it's interesting that John and a few of the other lads are still using chalk that leaves all this residue on the table. But it does create a bit of jeopardy.
Sixteen.
He's got a very healthy 40-point lead in this frame. Even if he was to break down, but he's got no intention of doing that. That will do very nicely.
$90.
Just means he's got to pot a few more balls if he's going to secure this 15th frame. No problem getting on the green again. Or is he coming up the table? No.
20.
Better to stay on the green because he's got very little to do for his next red. Just means he's got to pot a few more. Not often you see a player trying to clinch the frame with reds and greens.
$24.
Got the brown in the open now, so he's well on his way. There's the break, 28. And look, he's potted 5 reds. He's 2 greens, a brown, 1 pink, 1 black. But only a couple of pots away from getting himself back into the lead.
$29.
This is very unfortunate for Stuart Bingham.
33.
It's a strange old game at times. John made the bad error when he missed the fairly easy black. And Stuart got a terrible contact
34.
that threw the easy pot red offline. Still a possible 51 on the table. So at the moment it's 2 4-point snookers. Doesn't want to be coming up the table because that red next to the yellow would be easy for Stuart to get his first snooker. I mean, he could try and even pot the pink in.
John Higgins, 34.
So Stuart's just, oh, I thought he was going to concede. He's asked him to just clean the red, which is a way of telling us that's the one I got the kick on, that's the one that cost me. But barring snookers, John Higgins leads by 8-7.
John Higgins won on the frame.
And, well, Stuart just nodded to John, that's enough. So that kick was very costly for Stuart Bingham. John Higgins back in the lead at 8-7. Very well played. What a shot. What an absolute cracker that is to get the white there, to leave a black with a slight angle to get to the next red. Oh, hang on a minute. The cannon hasn't worked out. The black's going to cover the red. He wanted a fuller contact when he screwed back onto that red. There's a couple more pots available, but not as easy as it would have been. Well, he thought he was bound to be on the one that he cannoned, or at least the other one, and just caught it in the worst possible way. So there's a couple of reds I mentioned he can go for. One up into the corner, one to the middle. Don't like that one for position. Taking the other. Oh, where's this red coming?
John Higgins, 8.
He's played that in such a way that he's covered everything into the left corner, I think. Well, as you can see, they're all blocking each other, but I'm surprised he hit that so hard. Maybe he had to hit it at that pace to get the white over where he knew he was going to cover everything.
Yeah, good shot from Stuart there. Wouldn't have thing massively out of the equation to think he should have been entitled to something a bit easier than that, even a pot at a red, but made the best of his bad situation. He just caught that a bit thicker than intended, and this is a chance for Stuart Bingham. Can he get through to the one nearest the pocket, or will it be the 1-2 away and stunning for the black?
One.
Well, I was about to say he was hoping to be on the black. I think he still is. Not quite as he intended, but he'll take it. Good cueing there. And now he's got a bit of a chance. Okay, they're just covering each other into the left corner, but no problem. The reds
8.
to the opposite corner.
9.
He's got a nice little gap he can screw into here. And as you say, they're okay for this right corner, and it's not quite as congested now for the left corner, so it's developing into
16.
a very good chance.
$70.
That's just gone slightly awkward, a little bit of a grimace. Just wanted that to travel past that red. He's perfectly straight now on the black. He may choose to hold the spot and play the red underneath the black, but that's not where he played for. He's just looking at that now. Hold the spot, put the black on the pink spot. Now he decided to come back. Nicely played.
$24.
He'll play the red near the pink spot now, will he? Up for the blue. Just steadying himself. Big moments in this match. Yeah, nicely played.
25.
A little bit shorter pace, but the red's in, that's all that matters. You can hold the cue ball in the middle of the table and have choice of reds. And I think the way this match has gone so far, I think we deserve it to be 80 apiece at the end of this session. Been a really entertaining 7.5 frames so far. I think 8 each would set us up really well for the third session tomorrow.
Going to need the rest, but he's pretty good with that implement. He's like my colleague, Sean. He doesn't miss many with the rest.
Didn't he strike that well, Dennis? So sweetly. You could hear it. You could hear the sound of it. That was really, really sweet. 14 out of 14 for John Higgins. Stuart's 13 out of 14 at 93%. Very high standard. To 16 frames. of World Championship match play snooker. Using his experience now, asking for the cue ball to be clean. This,
38.
he recognises how important this stage of this frame is. He doesn't want a repeat of what happened in the last frame, where the opportunity was taken away from him. He's getting to the stage now where just, you know, 2 or 3, maybe 4 of these reds with colours. Oh, he's just lost the cue ball.
39.
Played to cannon that red on the way through, just missed the cannon.
Amazing. Just wondering if having the cue ball clean just upset his concentration a little bit, but there's no reason for that to go astray there. I was just about to say before he played the shot, there's no need for any little cannons the way the reds were sitting, because the one he cannoned, they were both available past the black into the right corner, so I'm not quite sure what Stuart was playing there. Look at this, he could have just rolled that in and come off the cushion and finished nicely on the black, and there was enough there to clinch the frame.
Green ball.
Anyway, put the green on the side cushion, just protect your lead.
Stuart Bingham, 39.
In fact, it didn't really matter about putting the green safe, as long as he got the cue ball tight. Look at this shot he's attempting. Typical. That is typical of John Higgins. Give him, as we show you the shot again, a lot of noise as the next table finishes a session, but that last pot was typical of John Higgins. Just a glimmer of a chance and he's grabbed hold of it. So how costly is that bizarre positional shot that Stuart Bingham played when he tried to get on the black?
9.
It's not straightforward by any means. Well, he's just got to sit there and hope that there's a couple of reds might come to his rescue near the cushion.
And he's going to need those 2 reds.
16.
So that's now what this frame hinges on. And that red that's nearest the corner pocket is in a great place to use to move those 2 if he chooses. He might play for it in such a way now to get on it low. Then he can cannon into those reds if he wants to. He'd have the pink or black waiting.
Twenty-four. 25.
He's looked at those 2 reds and one is potable down the cushion, and in a few shots time it'll be very interesting to see how he goes about this. if he should pot this red and get nicely on the black, I've put the other white up there.
32.
If he could get in there, and I'm sure John will have worked that out, he would leave the red past the pink to the middle and a red into the corner. Be interesting to see if that's his plan of attack. Now, what sort of angle? No, he's gone too far.
33.
He can't get into that position that I mentioned. It looks like a natural angle would cannon the pink, but the red that's next to the pink also goes into the left corner. But that's what he was thinking about. If he had got on the black, he could have just dropped the black in and left a choice of reds. Still managed to leave that one that I mentioned, but this is a delicate
40.
little shot. Thought that was going to stay out. Let's have a look at it again. It just catches the cushion, but the pace took it into the pocket. Now, what sort of angle has he got here? He'd have to really power this in. The alternate would be to leave a double, but he'd want to move it. But he doesn't like the angle he's faced with. He's played for the double, you know. And he can get on the black if he doubles this.
Will he play to move the red as well?
Oh no, that'd be a bit of a risk, that. I think if he could get the double, he'd be delighted. Not this time.
John Higgins,
And you never know where the
48.
red's going to finish when you take a double on. The red's on, but the white's a bit awkward. That smile from John there. He's so good at that type of shot.
One.
We're going to have a tense finish to this final frame of this session.
Bramble.
Advantage, Stuart Bingham. Even though he's 12 points behind, John just tapped the table. He's put him in an awkward position, because if he gets the spider out, he'd have to just land on this red dead weight, or just catch the cushion in front of it. But he can't play this with any pace. Well, he has played it with pace, and he might leave a free ball here.
Stuart Bingham 4. Back. Can I wriggle for the green?
We'll have it back again. He's asking a lot here, is John, to hit the red and knock it safe, especially using the spider.
Sorry.
And is this just because he feels it might be just a bit too difficult to judge the pace, playing it delicately?
Yeah.
Could well be, Sean. I thought maybe he could just try one shot just to land on the red. That's where they were, and that's more or less spot on. But this will be some shot if he gets it safe. Oh dear. He puts these cheeks out and he holds his hand up. What a result. That's not what he was trying, but he'll take it. The talk about ball run Bingham, ball run Higgins there. Oh, not the double again. Stewart knows that John will take it on. Well, he's straight on this black. Stewart knows that this is far from straightforward. Forced the angle. But how does he get to the green?
8.
Well, he's played that with a tremendous amount of right-hand side. What a shot that was, Sean.
He couldn't have picked that up and put it better with his hand. That was very, very well played under the circumstances. It's a green that's more difficult because of where he put it. He flicked it on the way through after his great escape last time round. But he has finished on it perfectly.
And only needs green and brown. A frame that Stuart Bingham should have wrapped up quite some time ago. Made a careless little positional shot. This was the one. He had to just roll that in and get on the black, but look what happened. No! Can you believe it? Leave it there because Stuart's going to need the extension. I think we showed you, John, at 100% record with the rest. Wow, it's gone safe. Dear me. They've got a touch of the wobbles, both players. You're not going to come off the cushion, surely, John, and pot this green. He's thinking about it. I don't think it'll cut in. Well, he feels it may. It's a very, very thin one, and the white's going to be coming off with quite a bit of pace. Well, what's going to happen next?
Wow, and the miss.
I didn't think that was cuttable. In fact, I thought he was going to come off the side cushion and possibly pot the green the way he first looked at it.
No, I'm with you, Dennis. It didn't look cuttable to me.
Yes.
But I'd be wary of criticising John Higgins of anything. That looked a step far, I have to say. One too many for me, that.
Well, if you look at that picture there, I mean, but he felt he could. You still got to pot them all.
3.
And it's the blue to pink's going to be key.
That was really well played. That was much more difficult than it looked. He judged that to perfection. And if he gets on this blue right, blue to pink will be much easier.
Seven.
Well, what an amazing last frame to this session.
Well,
He's got to play this with quite a little bit of screw, but I think it's okay. It's far enough away to make the putt fairly comfortable. Well, he should have clinched this last frame earlier on. He made a mistake on the positional side of things, but he's rectified that. And in goes the black. What a session of snooker these two former world champions have put on for us. And I suppose in the end it's fitting that they go to the final session all square at 8 frames each.
Well, there's nothing really to separate these two players in this best of 25 frame match that concludes at 7 o'clock tonight. Well, that's it from us. No play tomorrow morning. We're back at 1 o'clock on BBC Two. Until then, good night.
It's the peak. It is the absolute peak of what you've done. And your name goes down in a little piece of history, and that trophy has got a lot of very, very famous names on it, and you're one of them. I was absolutely petrified that I was going to lose it or get it stolen, so it stayed in the bank. I'm on there somewhere. My glasses can't see now.